This video is sponsored by Squarespace. Hey everyone, welcome to a new YouTube video. Today is a bit of a special video actually. So I have a story to tell you guys. So dating back to my childhood, I actually never met my grandpa on my mom's side. So that's my mom's dad. He passed away when my mom was really young, and therefore I never really got the chance to meet him. I always kind of heard stories about him and how nice of a guy he was, and also how he liked to take pictures, which I thought was interesting considering what I do for a living now. But I never had any like visual representation of like what that actually meant. You know, what kinds of photos he took, where he went, the locations he went to, and kind of how all that came to be. And that really kind of stayed the same up until about a year ago, actually. So I was on a trip with my mom for Mother's Day, and she brought down this box of slides, which if you don't know, back in the day, this was a very popular way to take pictures. At one point, it was the only way to take pictures. And essentially you have all these little different slides, and they're individual photos, and you can put them on a projector and you can see what the images look like. Now, my mom didn't have the projector with her, but we could hold the slides kind of up to the light and see what was on them, at least, you know, as much as we could with how tiny the slides are. And instantly I kind of noticed that there was something pretty special about these photos. I had never seen these before. I had never, kind of gone through them myself. I noticed that how many beautiful places were among these slides. There's probably like 500 or 600 of these, all neatly organized in this little box. And I wanted to bring these to life somehow. And I kind of thought about it, how I could actually make these, come to life. So I hit up my friend Linus, who owns a Frontier scanner, which, if you don't know, can scan individual slides versus the Noritsu that I normally scan on, which you can only do a minimum of 3. So this wasn't going to work. I had to find someone who could help me scan all of these and make them digital.
I've scanned thousands of rolls of color negative film in the last couple years, and it is a completely different process to scanning slide film. Slide film can be found in 35 millimeter strips. Traditionally, people would want to project their slides onto a wall or onto a projection screen to look at them with friends and family. When it comes to scanning these individual slides, you're immediately met with a much more daunting task than scanning a strip of color negative film. Each slide is individually packaged, so you have to kind of monotonously go through each individual slide and scan it on its own, which takes a long time, especially with older scanners like the one I'm using. Now, that said, I decided to, after about 150 slides on this older machine, switch over to a camera scanning method, which is where you have a macro lens and a camera attached to a copy stand, and you put your slides onto a light panel. You focus on the grain of the actual slide, and you fire a photo with your digital camera. This makes it really fast and efficient to fly through slides as long as you're not shaking the setup too much, because you will get shaky images if you do cause too much commotion on the table you're scanning with. It's so cool to go through the process of looking at all of these individual moments that they carefully chose to capture, which is something that, we take for granted nowadays. We fire off 100 photos on our phone and never look at them again. So this process is really heartwarming and exciting, and it feels like you're opening a present every time you scan a slide.
So I gave him this entire box of slides, and lo and behold, once he started scanning them, these images are absolutely incredible. And I remember distinctly the first time I saw all of these scans in the Dropbox folder, and I was like taken aback, honestly, at not only the beauty of the scans, obviously the eye that my grandpa had, but I think the coolest part was a lot of these places that he has been to and photographed, I have also been to. And I thought that was pretty special. It's a pretty special moment for me. And it was a really cool way to connect with someone who I have never met before. And I always thought that I was kind of like a black sheep in my family in terms of like being an artist. Like I didn't know anyone who else really liked to take pictures of my family or be artistic in some sort of way. And it's really cool to be able to trace it back to somebody now, someone who also really enjoyed taking pictures, who also enjoyed camping, being outside, going on road trips. And I think this for me has been a pretty incredible experience, just not only bringing these images to life, but it's been reassuring to me as an artist that I think this is exactly what I need to be doing with my life. Now, when it comes to the actual images, the colors are absolutely incredible. A lot of these photos were shot on Kodachrome, which by now I'm pretty sure is an expired stock, but I'm just amazed at the color palette of all of these images and how everything works together. Looking at these images, you really get to see moments in time, and I think this is one of the best parts about photography is when you take that photo, it might not mean much to you in that very moment, but when you look at photos from 30, 40, 50 years ago, a lot has changed, and I think it's really incredible to be able to look through these and to see what life was like back in the 60s and early 70s, which is when most of these photos were taken. And for me, this has really just been a very humbling experience to look through all of these and to be able to connect with someone in my family. I don't know, I think when it comes down to it, for me, this is a very stark reminder of why photography is important, why you should be taking photos of your family, of your friends, of your travels, of your everyday life, because if someone happens upon them later in life, I think it's a pretty special moment. So with all this being said, I went through all of these different photos, kind of categorized them. There were photos of my mom's family, there were landscape photos, a lot of photos of flowers. Apparently he liked flowers a lot. So I kind of figured out which ones, I wanted to share and which ones I wanted to, kind of share with my family. And it all came down to these incredible landscape images that I think really represent, his eye and his travels. And these are the ones that resonate the most with me. Everything from New Zealand to Canada to Southern Nevada to Oregon coast. There's a lot of really incredible images within this collection. And I wanted to have a place where everyone can go look at these photos, and I'm going to be sharing some photos as well over on my Instagram. But I think to sum this all up, this has been quite the transformative experience. I think it's really allowed me to look at things a lot differently and to really get excited about taking photos again. This, to have someone in my family who I've never met before and I've really been able to connect with through these photos has been incredible. So if you guys want to take a look at any of these photos, I'll leave a link for you down in the description. But overall, this has been just such a cool journey to go on, and I can't thank Linus enough for helping me bring these photos to life. If you guys want to check out his Instagram or YouTube, I'll link all that down below as well. But thank you so much as always for watching, guys. And yeah, I think this was a pretty special video. Thankful to be able to share stuff like this with you guys, and let me know if you'd like to see more stuff like this in the future. Take care. Before this video wraps up, I did want to take a moment to thank today's sponsor, which is Squarespace, for sponsoring today's episode. If you are looking to create a custom website from scratch without all the coding and hassles that come with it, Squarespace is by far the best choice out there, in my opinion, to make a beautiful website. They have easy to use templates, which make creating a beautiful theme that much easier, 24/7 customer support for all of your questions, and tons of customizable design and layout choices to really make your website stand out. For a photographer like myself, running a small business with multiple different kinds of needs, Squarespace really just makes sense. If you're interested in trying out Squarespace for yourself, go to squarespace.com/Samuel Elkins, which is in the description, to get 10% off your first website or domain purchase. As always, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this one, and we'll see you next week.